Hey, my friends. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day, and if not, I hope it gets a million, 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 trillion, 1,000 times better. So, kind of the reason I'm here today is because I just finished my first year of teaching. Whoa, right? And I was kind of reflecting on my year, what I learned, what I wish I did, what I want to do the following years, and I just kind of wanted to make a little presentation about just some general things that I think what I've learned my first year teaching. I want to say we're all growing. Feel free to respectfully share your thoughts below. This is an open conversation. Um, Kind of how this is going to run is I kind of have four categories, kind of responsibilities, the teaching itself, social, emotional, and then kind of planning as well. Um, this is not a perfect representation on how to create a presentation for your students. Personally, I teach high school, so it'll be kind of more filtered to that. I kind of just have a lot of things scattered, but I only have so much time and energy. So I apologize, it might be probably a little long, but I'm just going to kind of run through it. Feel free to pick up what you need. I tried to make the sign of accessible for people who've been teaching forever, and people who are just starting. Maybe you're about to start your first year, so forth. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of run through this, and yeah, so let's get started. So this first category we're talking about is going to be responsibility. Unfortunately, when you are teaching, it is not just about teaching. You are going to have endless responsibilities um, that fall on your shoulders that do not just have to pertain to the classroom, right? So, kind of one of my first things is I always like having a planner right in front of me on my desk with all of my to-dos. Some people have big calendars, some people have sticky notes, whatever your truth is. What I found the most beneficial is this isn't the calendar itself, it's still in my classroom, but I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Here's what I have to do. Kind of even just throughout the day, I would make little notes of what I wanted to accomplish today, what are big ideas, so forth. Remember, for this, there's a difference between what you need to do today, what you need to do by Friday, and what you just kind of need to remember for eventually. I got mine on clearance at Barnes & Noble's, but I'm sure you can make your own, or there's plenty of other places to go. But that was just my personal truth. Now, when we're talking about responsibilities, a big part of it is communicating with parents. Um, Communication with parents is one of a very key part. Because something's going to happen, something always happens. But if you've shown yourself to be friendly, opening, welcoming, and just ready to help your child, it will hopefully turn out better than the alternative. So kind of what I like to do, and I learned from my mentor teacher, is make a little newsletter to send out to parents and guardians. And in this newsletter, make it very clear you are a first year teacher. Like a lot of people will give you a lot more slack, and you'll probably have a bunch of students who their parents or some related teachers, they will be a lot more understanding. When I kind of did is I had a little bio section in my first newsletter, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited, this is my first year of teaching, and I just can't wait to make such a positive community in the classroom, whatever your flavor is. But do not be afraid to make it clear that you are a first year teacher. I know some people have the exact opposite opinion on this, and that's valid, but for me, um, if you're clear up front, hopefully people are more understanding. Share how excited you are to be your students' teachers. For this, I just used a free template on Canva, but you could do it in many ways. Try to aim to send out one quarterly. Maybe this is kind of what we're doing this quarter, things to look forward to, maybe some special events, expectations in the classroom, maybe some positives. You can kind of flavor it to your own classroom, but just a consistent conversation, communication with parents, I've always found to be beneficial. Now, kind of what I was just talking about, that try to be regular communication with parents. Maybe aim to send one positive email a week. It sucks when the first communication you have with a parent is, hey, your kid's being a brat, right? So when you're thinking about sending positives, um, it could be, wow, I just really love their behavior. Maybe they shared something cool in class. Maybe I saw them being kind to a classmate. Maybe I saw they were excited about this. It's just try to keep it open, try to keep it fresh, try to keep it light if it doesn't need to be. And just a kind of general rule, if you're sending out a bad email, always include a positive, okay? Maybe this kid is making you want to pull your hair out of your head. But, I love how dedicated they are to sports. I love how much they care about their friends. I love they are silly and goofy. If you are sending out a bad email too, or even a good email, um, document everything. Maybe have a little Google sheet for you. Um, Especially if you're worried about a student and you're worried maybe a parent will retaliate, you can say, hey, I emailed you or called you on this. I'm sorry, this is going to be a lot, and feel free to take this in waves. This is just kind of like a brain blurb of everything, so I apologize. But this is just what I have the energy for, to be honest. Now, kind of just saying, document everything, make a Google sheet. You need to protect yourself, right? Unfortunately, a lot of parents don't see teachers as people who are trying to help. They see teachers as the enemy, right? Trying to dog-name their child. So, protect yourself. Do it when you contact home, especially if it's bad. If you have a suspicion, like I was really worried this kid was cheating, so I just even made like a little note, like, I thought they were cheating this day for this. Why? When your student is using or refusing to use accommodations, this is important. I actually found like a free template online for accommodations. For example, if they're going to another classroom for testing, or they refuse to do that. This way you can just protect yourself and make sure it is all documented. Really important. Now, makes me sad that I have to say this, but when kind of the special education team at my school did a presentation for the New Year's teachers about what they want to make sure we know, they made it very clear that you should be respectful and attentive during IEPs, 504s, meetings, and always come with something positive, right? You don't want to be doing this, hit an eye roll. Be welcoming, be friendly, compliment. Give them a compliment standards. I always love how this student is so walks in with a good energy in the morning. I worry about their assignment completion, but I know they have a lot going home and they work really hard at extracurricular activities, so forth. We want to make it clear kind of the issues we're having with the student, if there are any, because we want them to get the support they need. But we want the people, their parents, guardians, to know that we do care. Or we're trying so hard to care about the student. We need to come in like we're doing everything in our power, because we are, right? Don't go on your phone. I always like coming with my IEP open. And don't say you didn't know about accommodations. You are legally required to know about the accommodations. I think this will be used later in the slides, but try to look at it at the start. This is something that really stressed me out. Try your best to be up to date with safety procedures. Make sure you have an updated roster in your red folder. If there's a fire drill, where do you go? If there's a lockdown, what do you do? Don't be afraid to email, ask administration, teachers, your department head, so forth. At least for me, there was kind of a meeting at the start of the year, and they sent out like the slides for it. But make sure you have your updated rosters and just know where you're going. Yes, this is what I was talking about earlier. I found this template on this first line, but what I did for each class period, keep a thing for students' accommodations. So, student names, case manager, counselor who should contact, what their accommodations are. It's nice just to have them in one place. Like, for example, when I was giving out a test or something, and I was like, I need to know, or I was going to do some, like, note thing. And I was like, okay, who needs like a teacher copy of notes? So I could just pull up my little spreadsheet, press Control F, did guided notes, and so I can easily just see. Because of course we do our best to remember everything off our heads, but at least for me, I have ADHD brain. It's nice to have them all in one place. Be available, be open, but you never need to be the first volunteer, okay? Especially as a first year teacher, if that's going to be you. Sometimes you get put with the shit jobs and that sucks. But for example, they might send out an email like, hey, is anyone available to this class? If you do not have the mental energy for it, you do not need to be the first person raising your hand, right? You will be put in situations where you have to do something, or it's good to do something, but never feel like you have to take this all up to look good. This is also just don't be the teacher with love and kindness that feels like they have to be there every single day. You don't. Please don't do that to yourself. I tried to be that person and it killed me. Okay. um, but when you have a sub, if you don't have like a relationship with one specifically, you're gonna pretty much get a random person, right? So try to have like a basic sub plan page with important policies, expectations, where to go if they have questions. So whenever you have to make sub plans, you don't have to type this all out again and again and again. General expectations in the classroom, so forth. Depending on your school, this will vary, but it's nice to just kind of have a basic sub plan page. So hopefully the only thing you have to create is, hey, this is what I want them to do during the class period. Hey, Mr. Postman. Like all my photos I added. Post your slides. For me, my school is 1-to-1, so we all have to use Google Classroom. How I do it, kind of like this, I make a slideshow for everything that we do. We'll kind of get into that more later. But if you're using any slides and you have like the Google Classroom or whatever, Canva or whatever, Canvas, post them online. Not only do many accommodations request access for teacher notes. If a student misses the day, they're like, what do we do? I'm like, you can check the slides. And I've seen it countless times that students go back and look through the slides I posted to review, catch up, so forth. It's technically an extra step, but I genuinely believe it's worth it. You can also, at least for a at least on Google Classroom, you can do it where you're like you're posting them on there, but they won't post till then. For example, like I'll do it, like if I finish my slides on Sunday, I'll do it post tomorrow morning. And at least for me, I was really worried about this, like because I had my slides for the whole week. I posted as like the weekly slides. And I'd be like, well, I can't post it yet because I don't have the rest of the week finished, the slides. It's not that serious. Just post them. It's okay. I like posting them once a week. How I do it in my so I have the topic in Google Classroom, what's the date of the week. And then typically the first thing I post in that topic is the weekly slides. Just do it. Just do it. That's my recommendation. Now, when you're communicating with children, adults, whatever, I recommend using I feel statements. Just a general good life skill. Instead of you are being so rude, you are being so disrespectful, for example, I feel like you are being disrespectful right now. This just makes it so it feels like less confrontational and more like a conversation. And if you come out to a conversation swaying metaphorically, that usually only escalates the situation. So try not to be the escalator. Try to always be... It's hard. It's really hard. But you are the adult in the room. You have to keep it with it. It's hard, but that's what we do. Also, you are a mandated reporter, okay? If you're concerned about anything, please communicate with your school counselors, case managers, school nurse. It's better to be safe than sorry. There's been multiple times where a student tells me something and I'm like, so I'm like, hey, what should I do about this? I completely understand that not everyone is going to have this positive community at their school. However, especially when you're concerned about a child's safety, try to communicate, hey, this is what I'm concerned about. Also, kind of general thing. If you are, let's say a student's just like coming in to make up a test or something, or they always come in early before first period. If there's a one-on-one with the student, always try to have the door open, especially if the student is the opposite sex. Sometimes what I'll do is when a student first comes in, it's during my lunch period, and I'm like, I do not want to hear the craziness of the hallway. I'm like, hey, are you comfortable? Do you want the door open or closed? But especially, for example, if I have like a male student in my classroom, I always have that door open. No questions asked. Why? You know why. Protects yourself, protects the student. Just God forbid, right? You, right? Just you, okay? Next up. Those stupid staff newsletters. I should have done a better job reading them. Because I literally, the day of, like, graduation, okay? I was walking in, luckily I saw one of my teacher friends walking in too, and she's like, oh, are you ready for the graduation practice? And I was like, what? Don't worry, I made it, everything was fine. I always get there way too early anyway. Don't do that. Maybe do that if you're like me. Anyway, that's a conversation for later. Try to be at least upcoming on what's upcoming events, especially when you're planning. There's going to be test days, especially in fourth quarter, half days, la 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 la. Try to know what's going on. If there's a big assembly that day, is that the day to do this crazy activity? No. Okay. Just try to be in the know, because your classroom energy will depend on how the school is that day. Beautiful. Responsibilities. There's probably a million more things, but I can show you guys. When I was just kind of brainstorming on things, that's kind of what came to my mind for that category. Now, next up, here if you want to see, these spoilers. That was my brainstorm. Now, this is just some general teaching tips, just about how I teach, what I've learned this year, and there's always room to grow, right? But this is just what I found helpful. This is something that I still struggle with, to be real and honest with you. Don't give the student the answer, guide them to the answer. Coming up with guiding questions is something a skill that I'm actively trying to build. Don't let the student trick you to doing the work, okay? I had to learn that. Rephrase the question back to them in a different way. What are similar concepts that might remind them of what you're trying to learn? What do you think it means? Do not be doing more work than the students, okay? Let them think. It's okay. We have to build that critical thinking skill. That's unfortunately our responsibility. Not unfortunately, but you know what I mean. Now, have peer discussion during direct instructions, okay? No one wants to sit and listen to someone yap for 40 minutes, okay? No one does. Not me, not you, especially not the 16-year-old or the 2-year-old or whatever sitting in your classroom. How I have decided to break up my direct instructions is schedule, don't tell them that it's a break. Don't tell them that it's a break. But it's a break for students in between to discuss the content. So their brains need a refresh, and I think it's like 10, if it's longer than 12 minutes, they're not retaining all the information, okay? They need a second to yap. They need a second to cook. Just make sure you make it clear in your expectations during that time. So, for example, we'll go over the vocab, go over the vocab. Okay, guys, practice these sentences with each other. Or have this conversation question. What do you think about this? Even if they're not all fully on tasks, just giving them a second to be a child and refresh them, I feel is helpful. But, of course, there's going to be some classes where it just gets them out of control. Every class is different. We'll get there. But I have found small little quote-unquote breaks in between to be beneficial. Don't be afraid to say check the board before you ask me. I ran around my classroom stupid and just got asked, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's up there on the screen. It's right there on the paper in front of you. You have all these peers around you. I saw someone has a trick where they're like 3 things to check before asking me. Ask a neighbor, check the slides, look at your paper, whatever you want to do. But did he already explain the instructions? Do you have it posted? Do you have it on the board? Try not to contribute to learned helplessness. Don't be afraid to let them figure it out. Learned helplessness is where they're like, okay, I learned that I don't know how to explain it well. That everyone just needs to do everything for me, right? Like, they don't have to do it intentionally, but, like, they are capable of learning. If you have asked the class a question and no one has volunteered to answer, don't be afraid to wait. My friends joke about this with me, that I'll wait. Don't be afraid. I mean, sometimes there's going to be the things where everyone starts, la 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 la, okay? But let them sit in that uncomfortableness. If they're still waiting and no one has said anything, take a second, talk to your neighbor. Someone in their knows, they're just often afraid to say it. Also, we love a think, pair, share here. Take a second to think to yourself, talk to a neighbor, and share. For example, what is the continent of Russia? I don't know. Waiting. I usually sometimes hit him with this. Okay. Take a second, talk to your neighbor. I'll give you guys like 30 seconds to a minute. If you don't have it but I expect the response once you're done. So forth. Flavor it however you need. We all are different teachers, but that's just a reminder. Also, this is something that someone else on social media said, and I apologize, I don't remember where I got it from, but honestly, it stuck with me a lot. Don't be afraid to use big words, big academic words. When I first heard that, I was like, well, they're not always going to know what that means. But students need to become comfortable hearing complex vocabulary that they do not understand. Even if they're a student with an IEP of 504, blah, 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 every student is capable of learning and growing, right? If we do not use these big words around them, they're never going to hear them, and they're going to be scared of them. You never need to quote unquote dumb down content for them. You can always expand on it later. How how do we figure out a big words? Okay, what's this part? What does that mean? What is this? What do you think it means? What does it look like in the context of the sentence? We can always expand later, but we need to give the students opportunities to learn and grow. This is a crazy slide. Try to have visuals. I love color coding my slides. You can even see right here with the blue, like it just pops up. It is extra work, and can be frustrating, and graphic organizers too. But it just really helps. Students like looking at things. I like having little GIFs on my slides, color coding important words, and also for the graphic organizers. Many accommodations will ask you to have graphic organizers or things like that for your students. So try to build accommodations into your daily instructions so you do not need to go through everything and make a separate quote unquote lesson for a different student. Make them all make a graphic organizer. They help. They help. You're doing a long essay? Okay, you need to break down thoughts first. What is this? This. Teach students that they need to think about things before they get to the final step. Also, this is something that I kind of had to grow. My mentor teacher mentioned it. Give students time to transition. For example, okay, guys, start putting away your warm-up sheets and get out your Chromebooks or whatever. Give them how long? There's not like one direct answer, but usually, like when you start hearing them get chatty, that's kind of when I know it's time to go on. Watch the room, feel when they're ready. If you hear talking, they are ready, right? Especially for moving on to a new content or a new thing, students they need a second to transition. Especially some of our students on the transition on the spectrum. I love an impromptu exit ticket. They don't know that. I love an impromptu exit ticket. I've also planned many of exit tickets, but there's been moments in class where I'm like, there's like 10 minutes left. We gotta do something, okay? Let's do it a casual activity. You can have them reflect on what they learned today. Give them a practice problem. Have them collaborate with peers. Prepare to share. Make them make little mini dialogues. I love doing a class quiz where I go up there, do something, they write it down, and we check our answers. But also don't be afraid to let them have some little bit of time at the end of class. Like, we don't always need to go bell to bell. At least I don't feel that way. But just make the time you do have meaningful. Always say hi at the door. I know it's hard because there's a million things to do all the time, but welcoming your students and them, giving them appropriate compliments, just creates a more positive classroom community that really beneficial. Hi, welcome in. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Sometimes you will have the energy to be this, sometimes you won't. Not only does it kind of help the students see what mood you're in, it helps them feel welcome into the space. With the compliments things, give obviously appropriate compliments, okay? Academically and not academically. Hey, I like your shoes. That's a cool backpack. Is that a new haircut? It looks nice. Oh, I see that you're drawing. That looks really cool. You never need to comment on a student's physical appearance. I just typically like to comment on maybe like an action they're doing. Everyone likes compliments. Make them feel welcome. Make them feel seen. So yeah, if they're saying drawing, oh, cool drawing. If they have new shoes, or you won't know, but well, you know the picture. Also, don't be afraid to check in. Go to independent work. Kid in the corner has been like this all class. That's not normally how they are. I like kneeling down next to him. Hey, what's up? Is there anything we want to talk about? What you thinking? Is there anything I can do to support you? Especially in the high school and every setting, there's a lot of big feelings. Help a student feel valued. Even if they don't want to talk about it, just being mentioned is nice. I don't have it on me, but I have like a little pink frog. That's one of them where you could like mess with. I have a lot of stuffies in my class. Even sometimes, if you know the kind of a more quiet student, see they're having a bad day, just when you're walking by, don't make a big deal out of it, but put a little plushie on their desk or something, maybe a candy, whatever you have in your class, just to like know like, hey, I'm looking out for you. Sometimes I go, hey, you okay? Usually, sometimes that can make the students be like, oh god, they know I'm having a bad day. Try not to make a big deal out of it, but don't be afraid to check in. It's always better to ask and open that route of communication than the opposite. Oh, one sec. I just want to check this is still recording. Okay, awesome. How are we doing, guys? Next up. Prior knowledge check, okay? Probably assume that they don't know it or they don't remember it yet, okay? I like doing this with a warm-up. Hey, this is some of the things we did yesterday, la la la. Starting a new thing, that's why there's pre-tests. But it doesn't always have to be that big of a thing. It could be casual. Learn what you actually need to teach. What skills are they missing for them to know the content? So you don't have to kind of do it all over again. And probably every class will be at a different level. Every class needs to be a different teacher. But at least if you know the vibes, you know what you kind of need to spend more time on, less time on. Just feel the vibe. Oopsie. Also, it's not that serious. Like it is, it's so serious and so important, but at the same time, it's not that serious. Not every day needs to be direct instruction. You're with them for however many days, right? And honestly, it's gonna feel like you didn't get to everything you wanted, and that sucks. Just wish this. But don't be afraid to have fun and laugh at yourself and make a positive atmosphere in the classroom. You have time, okay? Plan for projects, creativity, celebrate holidays, have them watch a movie. Sometimes, school related, right? What do you like, think about it. Like when you go back to high school, like what do I remember? It's not taking notes. It's special moments like that in the classroom. And kind of like one of my philosophies to teaching is obviously we want to develop these skills, but at the same time, like we want to build memories. We want to make them feel like education is a place that they can learn and grow. Like we need obviously the content, but don't forget to just be a person. Also, I love this. Have timers for independent work. Okay. I use Google Slides, so I like adding. You can insert like a little timer like that with the YouTube video. For Google Slides, you can press insert video, search for like however many time. Hey, you guys have like 10 minutes to work on this, 20 minutes to work on this. Then after, we're going to go on to our exit ticket or whatever. Hey, heads up, in like 5 minutes, I'm going to go around and check with the room. That's what I'll say, and then I go on and check with everyone. Feel the vibe. If students need more time, allow it. It doesn't always have to be this. But also, don't let them get more time just because they've been goofing off, right? And the timer helps them feel like a good amount of pressure. I mean, sometimes it will stress the student out, but at the same time, generally, it keeps the vibe in the room flowing. Helps them pace themselves. Be as transparent as possible, showing students that vulnerability is okay. This is something that I have to grow with. I'm pretty, like, you can probably see, like, I'm a pretty, like, I try to be a pretty whatever person. But I don't like people seeing me cry. This is something I struggle with. But students appreciate genuineness. They appreciate realness. Hey guys, I'm feeling a little tired today. I'm not sure. Let's like find that answer together. I'm still deciding on what you guys will do then, but maybe it'll look like this or this. This is a part of the reason to me too that it's important to make it clear that you're a first year teacher, because I'm still figuring this out. Okay, we're in this together. We're learning and growing. I come here every day and I do my best, and I expect the same from you. Okay, but we all have lives. If you show openness with students, they will be more willing to show openness back. Honestly, part of the reason that I am staying next year is because a student complimented me on my honesty and my openness. I don't want to get into that fully right now, but it is something that is appreciated. Also, I mentioned this earlier, these pictures of things. Every class period needs a different teacher. You guys know this if you've been in education. Some class periods will make you want to tear your hair out. Other class periods, like, this is just a chill vibe. For me, typically, like, first period is always pretty quiet. But when you get to later periods of the day, typically they get a little bit more energetic. But it really depends on the time of day, what students you have in the room, so forth, okay? Some are quiet, some are loud, some prefer collaboration, some prefer independent work. Prepare your demeanor and don't be afraid to give practice that isn't pre-planned. If I see something is going wrong, give student choice. Would you rather do A or B? Oh, also have an attention getting strategy. Prepare a signal at the end of the year when students know they have to, like, listen to you. I like doing, I go, hey guys, I'm about to clap. And they go. If you want, this is when I was student teaching, feel free to have students vote on their attention getters. I like the clap method. That's just what I found worked best. Students drive in routine, and shh is not always going to work, okay? We're lucky if it does, especially near the end of the year. But at least now, that's how we know. Oh my gosh, guys, we're halfway done. Isn't that crazy? I might do this video in 2 parts. But next, we're going to talk in social emotional. You need to take care of yourself. This job will take everything you have from you and more, okay? Here's some tips I had to learn. Be friendly. Try to connect with staff, including security, the custodians, librarians, etc. Okay? I completely understand that every school has a different vibe, right? But we need community in these trying times. Try to connect with those around you. Even if I don't know someone in the hallway, I go, good morning, whatever, right? Be nice, wave hi, give people smiles, say thanks. Try to connect to the teachers next to your classroom. You need a community. Be nice to support staff. They support you, okay? Just try your best. Not everyone's going to reciprocate, obviously, but do you want to be known as, like, someone that is always nice and friendly, or do you want to be known as someone who you're like, you know? Like, just try. Get meds and therapy. Most teachers I know have a therapist. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I was surprised by how many teachers this year were like, yeah, I have therapy later. I was like, oh wow, we need it. If you had ADHD like me, get the Adderall. Oh my gosh, it helps so much. Like, I didn't realize how much I needed it till after. You need to take care of yourself to take care of others, okay? Take care of yourself. What I also found really helpful is try to find a low effort activity after work that gets your brain off of work. Something I really struggle with, and many other teachers struggle with, is it's so hard to turn off teacher brain. It's so hard. Because, for example, I have to do this, this, and this. Oh, Jimmy told me that he's going through this, this, and this. Like, there's so much constantly. And unfortunately, I'm a very creative person, but often after work, I don't have the energy or the brain power to be creative. So try to find something that doesn't take up all of your mental space and you can do pretty easily. I binging a show, playing a game. I love a coloring book. Oh my gosh, that's healed me this year. Maybe working out, that's your thing. I played a lot of Overwatch because it's a video game that requires you to, like, I mean, you're just playing a video game, but you need to be pretty locked in to what's happening. So that helped me get my mind off of it. Or I binged this anime called One Piece. There's like 1,000 something episodes, so I always had something to watch, okay? That helped. Also listen to your body, know your limits. You know when to say no, you know when to say yes. You need to be able to, like, reflect on yourself and know. Sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I need to come up with something for tomorrow, And eventually I learned that, whatever, I'll just figure out in the morning. And whenever I did that, I always thought of an idea driving to work the next morning, driving home. Don't force yourself. If it is necessary, it will come to you. It's not that serious. Also, try to have break buddies. This is something that I wish I did more of because I realized fourth quarter when I started eating lunch with even another department, I just felt a lot better. Like, I felt so rejuvenated. Try to find someone to enjoy a break with. It does not need to be your bestie or even at your own department. Usually, departments are pretty separated, but don't let yourself feel alone. Okay, it helps so much, especially because you're talking to children all day, and it's like I need an adult to talk to. Have self-soothing activities at your desk. You can use during breaks, or even if they're like pissing you off during class, you can just kind of quietly do it. Same with students. Sometimes we just need to chill for a second. We need to breathe. I usually have this is not these, but my headphones. I love a coloring book. I have on my desk. What relaxes you? It's all different, but try to have something that you can chill with. Also for me, I love having comforts at my desk. Like I said, I have a lot of plushies. But that could be maybe figures, it could be pictures, whatever your truth is. You know what you like having around you. But heads up, anything you bring into the classroom, be prepared to lose it or have it broken, have it stolen. Anything you bring into the space, you need to be aware that there's children surrounding you constantly, and it's possible that it will be missing. There was this whole story about this woman who spent a bunch of money on this really cool like Hello Kitty thing, but unfortunately one of her kids stole it or something, and that sucks. So just be prepared. Anything you bring in, you have to be prepared to lose. Helps you smile. It helps students get to know you, which is important. Like, I have a little Freerin figure, and they're like, "Oh, you like Freerin?" Like, yeah. I have stuffed animals, cute little sticky notes, stars on my wall. I have, like, glow-in-the-dark stars. Stress balls are nice. Decorate your classroom to make you happy, but don't feel like you need to start the year off with a Pinterest classroom, okay? You can always add on throughout the year. Also, it's so okay to have a quote-unquote bad class period. They will not remember, okay? It's not that serious. It depends on bad, obviously. Sometimes you plan a lesson and it goes to shit. Oh, sometimes that happens. Especially when you're just starting off. You have literally never done this before. Be kind to yourself. I have to tell myself this every day. When we have a quote-unquote bad class period, what did I do? What did the students do? Try to reflect on it. How can that not happen again? You can reflect on it by writing, just talking to people, or I love asking the students their opinion. Basically every Friday we have warm-up, and before the quiz or whatever, and I say, hey, what did you like this week? What did you not like this week? Tell me. And try to do your best to listen to what the students are actually saying. What you will find out is that basically every student has a different opinion, but try to do your best to siphon through it, Also, remember this is children you're dealing with. You love them, but Fulcrum kids, they do not define you, okay? 16-year-old tells you that you're a bitch or whatever. That's a 16-year-old. What do high schoolers do? Am I literally gonna let a 2-year-old make me feel shit about myself? No. Those are children. You're fine. It's just centering. You're an adult. That's a child! Kind of was talking about this earlier, but don't be afraid to say how you're feeling and to feel the vibe of the room. Guys, I had a headache today. I had a family emergency. Students like honesty. Also, don't be afraid to use self-soothing strategies in front of the children. I go. Usually when they see that too, they're like, oh shit, we need to lock in. Okay? Show yourself regulated your emotions. Not only does that help you, but it also shows them how they can as well. Be a positive model for them. And also, if you've set up this station and, they're not messing with it, that sucks. But we can go, hey, I can see we aren't feeling this today, but I need you to do this first. Finish this, and we can figure something else out. These are children's. Sometimes something big happened the night before, blah, blah, blah. Don't be afraid to feel it out. Also, this is just an idea. I did this when I was student teaching, not during my first year of teaching. But I kind of regret not doing it, but also it's a thing. So it's called community circles. So pick a day during the week and have the students build a positive classroom community. We would all go around the circle 3 times, share how you're feeling today, 1 out of 5, a silly question, and then maybe a question related to the classroom. I realized reflecting on this during the year, it made me feel a lot more connected to my students. And I feel like they also feel more connected to you, so they're typically more willing to kind of give you a chance. Also, use I've noticed to say it, Pomodoro timers. These are the timers where it's like 25 minutes working is 5 minutes. This is like actual like scientific strategy of how to like not break yourself apart. So these have been really helpful to me when I'm planning. It genuinely helps me not feel as burnt out. There's so many like cute ones you can find on YouTube. Like this one's cats. It's just nice. It's good for you. Don't leave past blank. I put 5. This year I didn't let myself stay past 5 p.m. Next year I'm going to try for 4 p.m. Set a time for yourself. Anything could be figured out tomorrow. It also makes you think more critically about what you're spending your time doing. Also, try not to stay. I want to say let me go back to this. Don't go past your contract hours. But for me, that was not possible, I felt. So if you are able to not stay past your contract hours, don't. But if you're like me, where I feel like I had a trillion things to do all the time, and I never had enough time, give yourself a limit. I cannot stay past this time. Yay! And last but not least, this is just some things when I was learning to plan. I clearly did not plan properly there because it doesn't say. But at least for me, I pretty much had to like build and edit the whole curriculum throughout the year. So I did a lot of planning. I love lesson planning, but oh my god, is it exhausting. So here's some things I learned. Ooh, this is a big one. So, first week, focus on establishing expectations and creating a positive classroom culture. It's my aunt who's been a teacher for a long time, told me the same thing. The first week, we need to set clearly what we're expecting. But also, like, we need to get some little time to know each other, right? Tip I learned, when you're creating rules or expectations, don't use negative language. Instead of no talking during the test, please stay silent to stay respectful for your peers. What do you need expectations for? Here's like a list of things that I'm like, oh gosh. What's your late work policy? What do you do if a kid comes tardy? What is phones like? What are we doing during a test, independent work, during a lesson? When can you ask questions? Where everything in the classroom is. Have the students talk to each other and to you. They need to feel comfortable to contribute. The first day it's a little cheesy, but I did a little saying like, hey, here's kind of what we're looking forward to. Here's a little about me. And then I made them do first day bingo where they had to go talk to each other. Feel free to be silly. Random things I liked having in my classroom. Snacks. Not only for you, but the students as well. Sanitary products. Have pads. Tampons. I only had pads. A lot of students ask for tampons, but I only have pads because it's cheaper. A first aid kit. Oh my gosh, you will get asked for a Band-Aid like every week. So here, I just like having one. Obviously, if something's serious, we have a nurse there. But like they just need a Band-Aid, and like you could just have a Band-Aid. A phone charger for my phone, and then sometimes let a student use it. I got it secondhand, but a mini fridge. Same with the couch, which we'll get to. I liked having like my little drinks I can keep in there, keep my lunch in there. Because with real and honesty, I didn't like how my staff flashed down. And then a couch. Great for motivating students. Like, hey, you can sit on the couch if you do ABC. And also during prep periods, if you feel a little caught up, you can just lay on it for a second and just feel like you're a person again. It's awesome. These are things that you do not need. But they're nice if you have the budget or can maybe get them secondhand like I did. Use online resources. Please, God, do not remake the wheel. Use them, okay? Personally, I think AI is the devil. Not the devil. I'm not really an AI person, but you'll probably, like my school did with me, there's going to be a bunch of AI resources. Some that are not AI, but that I at least didn't use in an IA way. TPT, Teachers Pay Teachers. Teachers will post what they do online. Just make sure if you use these resources, there's so many amazing ones. Make sure you look at it first and make it your own. Never just copy, even though it's really easy to, but just try to look at it first. Also, there's free resources on there. Not everything you need to buy. SlidesGo, if you're like me and it makes me happy when I have a cute little slide like this, you have free slide templates, and then an online rubric maker. Rubrics are annoying for me to make, so you can find some online. Also, an Amazon wish list. This is how I got my stickers, my snacks, till some of them at least. Create an Amazon wish list, send it to your loved ones, and send it to parents and guardians at the start of the school year. You can put decorations for your classroom, supplies, pencils, coloring, scissors, la 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 la, spinners, buzzers for like game times, microphones. I had it fun when I had a microphone. Like posters and things, content related games, whatever you want. You're not forcing anyone, but say, hey, if you want to support me in my classroom journey, put it on there. If you don't know, on an Amazon wish list as well, they do not see your address. They just see the list. And also, I know we don't love Amazon, but in these trying times, this is the resources available to us. If there's like an alternative to it, I would love to know, but it's just easy. Also, I love a warm up, okay? I give them 3 minutes timers. They all know their warm up page. Give them a prompt. It could be to activate their product knowledge. On Mondays, I try to do like, hey, how was your weekend? Or it can be silly. I love a would you rather. They make it so random and niche. They get so passionate about it. It's hilarious. Community learning based. Sometimes what I like to do is I find like a short video on YouTube that's related to the content. Show them a short video. I like trying to go under 5 minutes just because there's attention spans, or you could just only show 5 minutes of a clip, whatever. And write a response about them. Get them invested. Like, for example, when we started learning about the ADA, so the Americans with Disabilities Act, I showed them a video about kind of how the ADA was protested. It gets them to care. It's cool. You don't need to be yapping the whole time. I lesson plan through my weekly slides. Some schools will make you write out a lesson plans, and that sucks for you if that's you, and I'm sorry. How I always like having a general lesson plan, though, especially when you're new. But I do that through creating my slides. Walk in. I like when they walk in, you'll see, like, here's what we're doing today, maybe some reminders, supplies they'll need for the day. From the Chromebooks, they can follow along in the slides. And then if you're like me, who have ADHD and can convert things, I literally make a slide for everything. But at the same time, never be afraid to go off course. Like, you have to follow the interest, follow the positivity. Also, this is a lesson I learned this year. Paper assignments as much as possible. Okay, they care less and are more easily distracted if an assignment is on a Chromebook. Also, easier to cheat. I like keeping digital copies for like accommodations because I have some students that have to type everything out, or it's easier for them to. But print out as much as you can. I feel really guilty about this at the start of the year because it's like the paper, the trees. But like, unfortunately, like, we're up here to make students learn. The best way for them to learn is on paper. I promise you that. If possible, planning is hard. Weekly routines. Typically, I kind of go with my school 2-week learning cycles. New content Monday, Tuesday, review Wednesday, Thursday, and quiz on Friday. Okay, keeps it easier for me because I know kind of what I need to do, and also helps the students know what to expect. Students love structure. Even though they act like they don't, they need and love structure. Try to make a plan for yourself when you want to grade versus when do you want to plan. You don't need to always finish everything in a day. Sometimes you will adjust it throughout the year, and that's fine. But especially if you're a person who needs structure, maybe like during the planning period, I'm grading, but after school, I'm planning for tomorrow. Or Fridays, I started doing this near the end of the year. Fridays, I'm not focused on grading. I'm only planning for next week. And I try to have like all my grades in by Wednesday of the next week. But life is hard. Give yourself grace. But if you try to figure out this is when I'll do this, it just makes it easier for your brain. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but please build accommodations into your assignments. Have word banks, have visuals on your slides, graphic organizers, especially before big assignments. Make sure you're chunking. Assign assignments in parts. The less you need to create separate specific students or instructions for specific students, the more inclusive your classroom feels. And less planning for you. This is something that I did not get to keep up with as much as I wanted, but we love doing a student of the week or even the quarter. Celebrate students, not only the academically gifted, but behavior improvements. I also did it for like those who advocated for themselves the most throughout the year. Encourage the traits that you want to see in your classroom. Jimmy, I loved how you thought so deeply about this before you wrote, whatever, right? You can make it a whole thing where you give out like a star, like a little sticker every week, or you can just sometimes quietly send emails home to parents or guardians. Also, do not be afraid to rework or reuse assignments. Not everything needs to be its whole new thing. I love a one pager where they have to do all these specific things. I found like a nice few options of templates on TPT for free. They probably use that same one pager for like 5 to 6 different assignments, right? You do not always need to reinvent the wheel. Variation can be fun, but your sanity is so much more important. Just when you're using that paper, just make it clear what you're expecting this time. Also, try if you like. Well, we always have to do everything digitally. Make folders and like your drives for your resting planning. This is something that I want to work on more in following years. But at least I have like, okay, these is all my slides from quarter one, quarter two, so I can kind of easily go and look back what I did at that time. Also, try to have maybe a place for all of your differentiation. Oh gosh, can you see that I got tired there at the end? Oh my god. Thank you so much. I believe in you. You can do it. What's most important is that you care, right? And you come and you do your best, because that's all we can ask of you. Thank you for listening. Sorry this was a lot, and I know this is not the perfect way to structure up a lesson, but I just wanted to kind of brain blurb and say everything that I learned throughout the year. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate you, and good luck. Bye.